Good evening. Once again, welcome. It's Monday night. It's 8 p.m. It's the Monday Review Show. Now, I'm having terrible problems with gremlins and everything creeping into the system. So unfortunately, I've tried 3 or 4 times to make contact with Keith live on air, as it were, but to no avail. So I have absolutely no idea what's going. And my deepest apologies to Keith. I'm sure reserves this time every Monday night so that we can go live and talk about things refereeing. I've even spoken to him on the phone, and for some reason it's not going through. So I'm just going to wing it on tonight on my own. The things we were going to talk about, and they were quite substantial actually. Quite a few of them actually involved VAR. Now, in the Everton-Manchester United game last Friday, some of you may have witnessed it, Everton were leading 2-0, and then Man United came back to draw 2-2. And then in the dying minutes of the game, there was an incident which, to me, looked like a penalty. The player's shirt had been tugged, and the penalty was given initially, but by Craig Pawson. And then the lad got on the blower and said, Craig, maybe you better have a look at this. So eventually then the referee went over to the screen, looked at the screen, and overruled his own decision, didn't give a penalty. Now, the big argument there is, what is VAR there for? Is it there to do a job? And remember, at the end of the day, the referee has the final say. Even with VAR, even with his 2 linesmen or assistants, as they're now called, and even with the help of the 4th official, he still has the final say. So why did he allow VAR to intervene or interfere, in my opinion, and overrule his original decision? I mean, he has the final say. So he was good. It wasn't him that gave the final say. It's not a penalty. It was the VAR. To me, it's wrong. Law 5 clearly states the referee's decision is final. I'm paraphrasing because it doesn't quite word it that way, but it means the same thing. The referee's decision is final. And yet he allowed VAR to overrule him. Now, you only do these things where there is a deliberate mistake. Can't remember the actual wording of it now. It's clear and obvious error. Yeah, a clear and obvious error. There didn't appear to be a clear and obvious error. What he saw, Craig Pawson, the referee, amounted to a penalty kick. So why did he allow the VAR guy to overrule him? That is weak refereeing. And I'm sad to say it's something that is going on time after time after time in the English Premier League. Now, Keith and I get criticized, maybe not regularly, but, pretty often, about criticizing referees. Now, we don't criticize referees for the sake of criticizing. Let's get that thing straight. We point out mistakes that are made that shouldn't be made at that level of football. Remember, they say the Premier League is the best league in the world. Best league in the world. So then why do they not have the best referees in the world? They should have. But they don't appear to be. And even the 2 main guys, probably the top 2 would be Michael Oliver and who's the other guy? God, it'll come to me now. Anthony Taylor, reckoned to be the top 2 referees in the Premier League, in the best league in the world, but yet making mistakes. Now, it wasn't Anthony Taylor or Michael Oliver in this instance, but nevertheless, the referees in the Premier League, the senior referees, should be all on a par. There shouldn't be some guys better than other guys. They should all be on a par when it comes to refereeing a match and when it comes to interpreting the laws of the game. Now, even the laws of the game can be quite difficult to understand sometimes. But they are there. And these guys attend regular refereeing meetings where consistency and interpretation, a lot of concentration is on consistency and interpretation. So how can they get it wrong? But most importantly, I'm going back to my original point. The referee was correct. A shirt was tugged. An Everton shirt was tugged. And that should have been a penalty. But I'm leading on to something else now. How come a penalty kick appears to be a more serious offence than a slight little touch on the back in the centre of the park, and a free kick is given for that? But if that happens in the penalty area, they won't give a penalty. Now, again, let's distinguish. A direct free kick anywhere else in the field, forget about the penalty area, a direct free kick in the centre of the field is a penalty kick inside the penalty area. That's it. No ifs, buts, or ands, or seriousness, or this, or that, or the other, and all kinds of excuses being brought up to make excuses for not giving a penalty. It's very, very simple. There was a referee in South Africa one time, and he gave five penalty kicks in a game. And he was criticised from on high. So they went over them with a fine-tooth comb, and they found that only one, yes, one, had the slightest doubt as to whether it was a penalty or not. The other four were correct. And again, I go back to what I said earlier. A direct free kick in the penalty area, a direct free kick outside the penalty area is a penalty kick inside the penalty area. That's it. It's a direct free kick inside the penalty area and therefore a penalty, and they're not being given. To me, this is referee weakness. It's sloppy, it's weakness, it's not showing strength where strength is needed to prove to the players, you as the referee, you're in charge. You make the decision because you are the expert on the laws of the game. You are the expert on the laws of the game. That's why you have been appointed to, and you're refereeing at that senior level. And remember, when you're up there, you're also likely to be on the international FIFA list. So why are they not giving those decisions? Now, I'm dealing quite a lot tonight with VAR. There was a red card in the Arsenal-West Ham game. You may have seen that. This was for what they call a DOGSO, D-O-G-S-O, denying of an obvious goal-scoring opportunity. Now, the Arsenal player, he pulled down the West Ham player just about on the halfway line, just drifted into the other half of the field of play, as the West Ham player and he were tussling for the ball. He was pulled down. The referee again had to look at it. I could clearly see there was a player way over on the far side, and the goalkeeper must have been 30 yards from his goal line, well out of play. And this player, there's no doubt, this West Ham player would have gone on and scored. But still, the referee had to look. I'm trying to remember the name of the referee. I can't remember now. He still had to look at the screen to see if it was a penalty or not. Why? If you're refereeing on a Sunday morning in any park around the country, wherever country you live in, a non-Premier League game, you don't have VAR for that. You may not even have assistant referees for that to help you, or fourth officials. You have to make a decision. And you make a decision based on what you see at that time and based on your opinion. And remember, it does say in the opinion of the referee, any decisions that are made, and yes, they are subjective. Yes, they are the referee's opinion, but that's what the law says. And the law protects the referee. It protects the referee by giving him that power to make those decisions. Otherwise, what is he going to do? Go and consult the coaches, consult the goalkeeper, consult the dogs in the street, You can't do that. You're trained, you're coached, you're mentored, you're taught to make decisions on your own based on what you see at the time. And yes, we'll get it wrong. Yes, we do get it wrong. Certainly when you're refereeing without assistance on the touchline and the VAR itself. But even with the VAR, I mean, for goodness sake, even getting that wrong. So that was another VAR decision that was hopelessly wrong. But thankfully, the correct decision was given. There was a red card in the Bournemouth-Wolves game. And thank goodness the referee, Michael Salisbury, new to the scene in the last season or two, has done quite well. He gave a red card. Fair enough. I have no problem with that whatsoever. I've often been asked, did you ever regret giving a red card? I said, never. But I've often regretted not giving a red card. And that's where referees need to be strong. They see something, they know the laws of the game, they know what qualifies, if you like, as a red card, and they give a red card. No problem with that whatsoever. Now, the other thing that's really concerning, and it's happening all the time, players are manufacturing, and it says it in the laws of the game, players are manufacturing fouls. They're creating situations to make it look like they have been fouled when in fact they haven't. And what's even worse is that the referees are giving into that. Why are they doing that? Why are they giving into that? You'll know when a player who gets touched to the back and he goes down, I mean, slightest little touch, he goes down. Referee gives a free kick for that, when it's never a free kick. And you'll know when that player is actually cheating. You'll know when he's cheating. Because when he goes down, what's the first thing he does? He grabs the ball. So in case I don't get the free kick, well, the other team are not going to get the ball. I'll hold on to the ball. That's a deliberate hand ball and should be punished with not only a free kick, but a yellow card. Because there's no other word for it, it's blatant cheating. No question about it. Blatant cheating. And it's happening all over the place. There was one very obvious one in the Crystal Palace Fulham game, and also in the Southampton Brighton game, also there. Now, there was some very serious complaint. There was an article in the newspaper. I'm going to show it to you. And I'll read it out to you. This is by the reporter. His name is Ryan Taylor. Not sure what newspaper it's from, but he says, Premier League referee Chris Kavanagh is at the centre of controversy after officiating Ajax's dramatic Europa League win against Union Saint-Gilloise on Thursday. I hope I'm pronouncing that correctly. As the Belgian side chased a goal to level the tie 3-3 on aggregate in the final seconds of extra time, forward Kevin Rodriguez was clattered by Ajax goalkeeper Remco Pasveer. But Kavanagh, that's the referee, and VAR officials Peter Banks and Michael Salisbury ignored the incident. It has since emerged that Rodriguez suffered a broken nose and that the Union striker, Promise David, said, "We were robbed." The incident has increased scrutiny and once again called the standard of English officiating into question. Now, that is happening now. Now, that was a European match that these guys did. Chris Kavanagh was the referee. We've spoken about standard of refereeing. And again, I want to reiterate, this show is not here to criticize referees or refereeing. I know, and Keith Hackett knows, having been up there, we know what it's like to be a referee and to I just want to check something here, guys. Where is it now? Yeah. I know what it's like to be a referee. I've been there, and so has Keith. We've been there. It's very difficult. But if you're fully au fait or familiar with the laws of the game, all you got to do is do your job. And sometimes I call referees reactionaries, because that's what we are. We see an incident and we react to it. If it's a foul, throw in, you ward it the other way. If it's whatever. So you see, otherwise you don't do anything. You don't react at all. You don't react at all. If people say, oh, the referee should never be seen. Absolutely. I agree. So long as the players behave themselves. But do they? And will they? Not a chance. Not a chance. They're going to do whatever it takes to get the best possible decision for their team. And if that means cheating and diving and lying and trying to hoodwink the referee, so be it. Seems to be the order of the day. And that is not right. And they'll do it. And they're probably told by their coaches to do it. And that's why we are there, to stop that happening. That's our job, to referee a game between 22 players, 11 either side, and be fair, honest, and unbiased in the decisions that we make. That's our job. Are we doing it? Some of us are, and some are not. Why? Only they can tell you. I can only assume that they're either scared, they're worried about the reaction and the backlash from the players, from the coaches, from the staff, the management, the fans, and the press, both electronic and written. Now, if at any time you as a referee out there think you can't handle that kind of pressure, and you think that I'm not prepared to be shouted at every Saturday, Sunday, whatever it is, that's fine. That is your prerogative. But you'll only be shouted at if you allow it to happen. And you shouldn't allow it to happen. You're not out there to be their whipping boys. You're not out there to listen to their whims and their cries and their whinging, and most of the time complaining. The complaints are unwarranted. That's not your job. Your job is to go and referee a match between 11 players on either side, two teams, and to the best of your ability, make the decisions that you find are the correct ones. And as I said earlier, sometimes you will get it wrong. And that's okay. Because, inside this here and this here, this is flesh and bone. We all make mistakes. There isn't a human being alive today or even past, nor will there be in the future, a human being that will not make a mistake. That's what happens. If you're not prepared to do that, that's fine. Go and play golf or tennis or whatever else you fancy. But if you want to be a referee, you've got to be pretty thick-skinned, because you're going to get blasted left, right, and center. And some spectators think it's their right to criticize the referee. That's all right. So long as it doesn't get personal. As long as it doesn't get personal. As soon as it gets personal, then it's a different story. And you have the powers to deal with situations like that. And deal with them decisively and without fear or favor. And if it's not working, then you just call the two managers together and you say, I'm getting a lot of flack from the fans, I'm getting a lot of flack from your players. Either it stops now or I'm abandoning the game. And then you continue on. And if the flack and the abuse continues, just abandon the game and report it. You are not there to take abuse from anybody. You're simply there as an arbitrator, someone who's going to make decisions based on the incidents that occur on the field and according to the laws of the game. Now, I'm sorry again, I tried several times to get a hold of Keith. I hope you found the little chat instructive, helpful. It's a little bit shorter time. It's just 20 minutes this week. Hopefully, fingers crossed, say prayers for me, please, that it'll go okay next week. Until next Monday at the same time, 8 o'clock. Goodbye. God bless you all. Thank you.